Yo, peace was good. Welcome to another hip hop album review. This is part 201. The album that we'll be reviewing today is BDP's fourth album titled Edutainment, released in 1990. You guys by now should know BDP is. BDP at one point consisted of just KRS-One, Scott LaRock, who passed away right after the release of Criminal Minded, and Scott LaRock. And then over the years, the crew just got bigger and bigger and bigger. I did a review on Criminal Minded, which everybody loved. I did a review on By All Means Necessary, and a couple weeks ago I did a review on Ghetto Music, the Blueprint of Hip Hop, which, in my opinion, it's not my favorite. I wouldn't say it's whack, but it's just not my favorite one. Just because of the production. And then one of my subscribers had a good point. He's just saying about how KRS-One wanted people to focus more on the lyrics more so than the beats, and that was a good point. But for me, it didn't really do much for me. But the subject matter for me is what definitely helped the album, in my opinion. All right. So right after Ghetto Music, started working on this album, and then throughout that he added two more members that I know of. The two members is Jamalski, who is kind of like a reggae, raga hip hop, does like raga hip hop that kind of style, and Heather B, you guys should know. At one point, he was part of the Real World in New York back in '92. Also, she dropped an album called Taking Mine back in '96, which was produced by Kenny Parker, KRS-One's brother. I think it was his younger or older brother, I don't remember, but yeah, his brother did the production of most of the beats. I think Beatminerz did like one song off that album. But yeah, man, dope album. I would have to do a review on that album eventually, so definitely stay tuned for that. Very slept on album, if you ask me. Alright, so getting back to this album, then he dropped this album right here. The singles off this album are Love's Gonna Get Ya, Material Love. Everybody knows that song. It's definitely one of KRS-One's biggest singles in his whole career. BDP, you know what I mean, that kind of thing. And I believe I want to say, The Rules was a single, but definitely Love's Gonna Get You was a single of the album. Alright, you know how I get down, show you what the album looks like. You see KRS-One looking all militant, all black. You got the medallion, that kind of thing. And one thing about this album, if you guys notice every thing with BDP albums, each BDP album, there's a theme to it. Like the first one was like on that street shit, braggadocio, that kind of thing. And then the second album, he kind of went more positive, but he was more political. He was sort about the how the government is kind of being corrupt and all that stuff. Kind of with the CIA bringing drugs to the system. He talks all about that. Third album, talks about police corruption, things of that nature, and this, that, and the fourth, and that kind of thing. So, it talks about history, that kind of thing, things of that nature. So, and the fourth one is no different. But with this one, he kind of goes more Afrocentric with this. If you guys like Public Enemy, Brand Nubian, like that subject matter wise, then you'll definitely enjoy this album. So you know what to expect with this album. Alright. So with the album, so like I said, KRS-One damn chilling right there. Open it up. This is what the CD looks like. Nothing to it, very plain. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Open it up. This is pretty cool. As you can see, it's entertainment plus education equals edutainment. Hence how you got the name of the album. I thought that was pretty clever, very dope. Then you got the track list in here. Yeah, you can definitely tell this is early 90s. You got the old map book lettering. You know what I mean? Remember those back in the day, man. Those were those computers were expensive at the time. I think they were like a stack, and at that time, a stack back in $1,000 back in 1990 was very expensive. It's expensive to this day, but back then, because wages wasn't as what it is now. So cats was getting paid like $5 an hour and crazy shit like that. So, all right. Then you got Karis when he has a saying right here. That was pretty cool. He has a little saying where you have to say. Production credit is done by Karis One. Does either the production and all that stuff. And he has like a nice little saying, like a shout out. That's why I fuck with Karis One, man, because he be keeping it a buck. He says a special thanks to George Bush for fucking up the nation and continuing the conspiracy to destroy the African. Thanks. You definitely relate because Donald Trump is doing the same thing. So, special thanks to all the so-called black radio stations for fronting on my last album. Yeah, that shows you a lot that the album didn't really sell very well. Didn't really do it very well. Special thanks to all the rap DJs that can only play rap music with empty air-headed messages. Yo, facts on that. Special thanks to Newsweek for continuing to promote negative stereotype of rap artists. Yeah, I think that's the media in general. Extra special and super thanks to all the Jerry Crow. Oh man, this nigga, all the Jerry Crow activists and blue-eyed black people for continuing the house nigga worldwide membership. Oh man, this dude, man, yo, you keeping it a buck, man. Let me tell you, that could never come out today. I'll just let you know about that. Exhibit A, there's a bunch of exhibits. Exhibit is just like the skits, it's him doing like lectures and him speaking his piece and stuff like that. Exhibit A is the first skit. It's just Karis One at a seminar saying that rap music is the voice of black people. All the music that you hear today, whether it's pop, rock, R&B, funk, or anything like that, is black music, that kind of thing. And that's pretty much what I got from that. Track 2, Black Man in Effect. Really love this joint. Dope way to start the album. Very aggressive, in your face, hard drums, dope sample. He took shots at Juice Crew when he says, heard what I had to say, and it felt as though you say that too. I'm now down with the Juice Crew. He just talks about how he also talks about how the black man is the original man and all that kind of stuff. Things that you would hear like, the Nation of Islam, the 5%ers would say, things like that. Something that, you would hear like Grand Nubian would say. And he also says that, what they teach in schools is false. It's not real, like the world history, American history. It's not like, that's like artificial facts. African history is the real world history, you know what I mean? So then that's what I got from that joint right there, Black Man in Effect. So I thought that was pretty dope. Like I said, dope beat, dope lyrics, dope everything about that shit. Like I said, one of my favorite tracks off the album. Track 3, You Know the Rule. I believe that was a single, like I said before. In the song, he just talks about how he came up in hip hop and how he was homeless at one point. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Track 4, Exhibit B. In this song, it's Kwame Ture, an activist from back in the day. That name should ring a couple bells with some people. He just talks about how history just doesn't just start with one person. It starts with a group of people. And he throws some examples like where he said if Martin Luther King was by himself, he would have been lynched. If George Washington fought against the British by himself, he would have been captured and he would have been surrounded. Things like that, and things of that nature. So it definitely brings up a good point. You know what I mean? So although like history they like to credit one person, but they don't credit the group of people that was surrounding that particular person. You know what I mean? So I thought that was pretty interesting. So very interesting and very true. Track 5, Beef. Very, very dope song. This is pretty much what I get is like the pro-vegan like the pro-vegan song, before it got, trendy nowadays. In this song he talks about how red meat is bad for you, how it's processed, and people always wonder why they get sick is because they're consuming the heavy consumption of red meat, things like that. The only thing with this song, I wasn't really too crazy about the beat, but the subject matter, like I said, is dope. Like very reminiscent to today because there's a big vegan movement that's going on right now. Although I feel like some people are fake with it. You know what I mean? Like I have an issue with vegans. Like I have no problem with people not eating meat, but don't force feed motherfuckers. That's my issue. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all the same niggas that like to go out in clubs and drink Hennessy and go to strip clubs and these self-righteous motherfuckers, these fake woke motherfuckers, which I fucking hate to this day. But yeah. So that's pretty much what they talk about with beef. Very dope song. Like I said, I just wasn't too crazy about the beat. Track 6, House Niggas. I fucking love this joint. One of my favorite songs off the album. In this song, I love the beat for it too. In this song, he talks about how you got some black people that like to sell their race to uplift their own self. You know, just to be accepted by the oppressor, i.e. Kanye West. Yeah, I said it. Fuck that nigga. He's an example of a house nigga. And he also talks about how he calls out rappers only raps about, you know, material things and things of that nature. But yeah, Kanye West is a prime example of a house nigga, straight up. I don't fuck with that nigga. I don't like this nigga music. So don't expect me to review any of this nigga's music or anything like that. No album. Don't expect that. The only album I have from him is College Dropout, but I wasn't too crazy about that album either. Man. Whew. Yeah. Alright, so that was a House Nigga with track 6, one of my favorite songs of the album. Exhibit C, track 7. It's just a skit of KRS-One at a concert, just in uplifting Africa and the importance of Africa, you know, things like that. Talks about what's going on in the world, you know, things like that, especially around that time in 1990. That's pretty much what I got from that skit. Alright. Track 8, Love's Gonna Get You, Material Love. Very dope song. Very, very, very popular. Everybody knows this song. If you guys always wanted to know where this song came from, it came from this album. You know, definitely one of BDP's. I think it's like their most. I think it's BDP's most notable song, like the most best-selling song. I could be wrong about that. Let me know what you guys think about that. It just talks about how society's obsession with fame, money, cars, clothes, hoes, and things like that. How those things can become a distraction. You know what I mean? It becomes a distraction. You definitely lose focus. It just talks about how people have more value. People show more value on material things than life itself, and that's what I got from that joint right there. And it's very true, man, because you got people posting on the gram. You know, people posting money, flashing money. People, you know, showing off their credit scores and all that stupid shit that I be seeing people do. Like, I don't really get the point. I don't know if you're trying to inspire people, but that's not the way to do it. You know what I mean? It's just really stupid. It's just niggas that's struggling out there, and then you just flashing that shit. Like I don't get that at all. That's fucking stupid. You know what I mean? So you know, things like that. People flashing their cars, and which is cool. Like you worked hard for it. You show off your car. Okay, that's one thing. But you got motherfuckers that, you know, that like to do credit card scams and all that shit, and they get in a car like every month and shit. Like, damn, you just had this car. Damn, you had this car, and they showing that shit off on social media. And this is fucking stupid. You know what I'm saying? But you know, they end up getting caught and, you know, going to jail. They wonder why they get caught and they doing jail. They end up snitching. You know, all that stupid shit. Yeah, that's my thoughts on Love's Gonna Get You, Material Love. Track 9, 100 Guns. Very, very, very dope song. In this song, he just talks about him being a gun smuggler, you know, that kind of thing. Him just drive, drive throughout the East Coast, you know, up to New York, you know, to smuggle guns. Because, you know, guns in New York, the gun laws in New York are very strict. So that's why a lot of people go down south to get guns, because guns are dirt cheap, and, you know, it's a lot of states in the South are red states. So you're gonna get cheaper guns, and people really really live with the Second Amendment. The right to bear arms and all that. So especially down here in Florida, so people are really serious about their guns. People love their guns. So in this song, he pretty much talks about that. Talks about the struggles of being a gun smuggler, and then the trouble he has with the law, that kind of thing. One interesting fact with 100 Guns was Ja Rule actually got the hook for New York off this song. You know what I mean? So for the New York song from his RULE album from '04, everybody knows that song. The song that Fat Joe ended up causing beef. That ended up getting Fat Joe ended up getting beef with 50 because of that. Jadakiss as well. So, but yeah, so that's where Ja Rule got that the hook from this song. Track 10, You're Struggling, featuring Kwame Ture. Fucking love this song. Love this song. Love, 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 love. Because it's so relevant today. In this song, he talks about black people struggling with themselves, trying to fit in with society. So, for example, you got all these chicks, these black chicks, that be wearing like weaves and highlights, and nothing wrong with that. I don't mind weaves, but as long as it's done right. Cause some women they don't. It doesn't look right. Like you still see the tracks and all that. It don't look right. It looks nasty. You see like the hair. Oh my god, this is disgusting. You got these dudes that be wearing like the hazel green eyed contacts, trying to be like a pretty boy. You know what I'm saying? Yo, you got these niggas bleaching their hair blonde and shit. Like, oh come on, man. Like, yo. And that's so relevant because that shit happens right now. You got motherfuckers black niggas wearing fucking green hair, dyeing their hair green and red and rainbow colors, some faggot shit, you know what I'm saying? But, it is what it is. To each his own on that one, to each his own, whatever, it is what it is. But that's what he talks about that. He also talks about like dark skinned people bleaching their skin and shit, like some sucker shit right there, man. Just love what you have, man. Love what God gave you, man. God gave you that for a reason. If He wanted you to be light skinned, He would have made you light skinned. If He wanted you dark skinned, He wanted to make you dark skinned. You know what I'm saying? That's what I got from that song right there. I love that joint. Love the beat for that shit right there. Track 11, Breath Control 2. Dope song. It's just a braggadocio track. Track 12, Exhibit D. In this song, he talks about how nobody's exempt when it comes to like paying taxes. Like, if you don't pay taxes, you're gonna go to jail. There was a lady that happened. I think she got arrested back in 1989. I forgot her name. I should have wrote it down. But it was like a lady. She was a wealthy white lady. She wasn't paying her taxes. And then there was like stories about her like being a frugal person, like not paying her employees right, just like like her housekeeper, she wasn't paying her right, and things of that nature, and things of that sucker shit like that. And that's pretty much what I got from that joint right there, man. And yeah, that's what I got. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Track 13, Edutainment, definitely one of my favorite tracks of the album. In this song, he talks about how the importance of education is very important. That's something they can't take away from you. Be your own teacher, you know what I mean? That's something they can't take away from you. That's pretty much what I got from that. Love the beat. Definitely has like that ska, that late 60s ska feel to it. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was pretty dope. Very, very, very dope. I love that joint. Edutainment. Track 14, The Homeless. Very, very dope song. This song is kind of unique because in this song, he compares black people to homeless people. And that's very interesting because if you notice, man, like, with homeless people, and I'm guilty of it too, where, you got homeless people with the, with the sign saying, like, yo, I'll do anything for food, or I need money for this and that and the third, and you just ignore them. Like, you just kind of like, oh, they're scum, or, things like that. I've done it too, because, like, me personally, I feel bad for them, but at the same time, I'm the type of person I will not give them money. I will give them if I have like food on me, I give them the food, but I will not give them food money because they're gonna go out and buy booze and buy drugs and shit like that. But I've seen in real life. I'm pretty sure you've seen memes where like you said like you see homeless people say need money for booze or drugs or weed, and I could respect that, but I wouldn't give it to them. But I respect their honesty, and I've actually seen that in real life. So, but I end up like whatever food I have that's sparing, like that's, whatever extra food I have, I just give it to them, So that's just me though. But the homeless, like I said, so it's the same concept with black people. People like American society looks black people like homeless people, like they ain't shit, they smell, they stink, and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I got from that joint right there, homeless. But the way he raps over it is like a kind of a spoken word type of vibe. So I thought that was pretty interesting. All right, track 15, Exhibit E. He talks about how he kind of debunks the whole President Lincoln freeing the slaves thing. Like, even though he freed the slaves, you're still a slave at the end of the day. Doesn't matter. Like, you could be fair of slavery, but slavery still exists today. I mean, it happens to this day. Prime example, you're working a 9 to 5, or, well, maybe not a 9 to 5, maybe that's a bad example, but, working, being in jail and in prison, where they have you, like, make license plates and whatever, for the public, like street signs and, things of that nature. Things of that nature. So even though you're free, you're not really free. And mentally, you're not free either. Because, some people's, mentality is, still has that slave state of mind. And that's what I got from that skit. So definitely very deep, in my opinion. Very, very dope. Track 16, The Kenny Parker Show, one of my favorite songs off the album. Really enjoyed that joint. In this song, he's just bigging up his brother Kenny Parker, who was the DJ of BDP at the time. He's just bigging him up. Who's a dope producer, dope DJ. Very, very dope. Like I said before, Kenny Parker, he's known for his work with BDP. He didn't start. I think his first placement on Wax was actually on the Heal album that dropped in 1991, which I do have in my collection. He's done a couple beats on Sex and Violence, which I will do a review next. Maybe not today, but I'll have to work on the notes and stuff like that. So definitely stay tuned for my review on that. So very, very dope. Kenny Parker Show, like I said, just him bigging up Kenny Parker and that kind of thing. Dope producer, very slept on. Matter of fact, KRS-One did an album with Kenny Parker, I think back in 2012, called The BDP Show. Very dope album. It's kind of an independent album. Very slept on, but very dope. You know what I mean? I enjoyed it. You know what I mean? Little side note, Exhibit actually did homage to this song too on his Restless album that came out in 2000. Very slept on album. He did a kind of like a tribute to the song, so I just thought I'd throw that out there. Somewhat similar, but they remade the beat, but like kind of made it more modern. That makes sense. So, but yeah, very dope. This is my thoughts on that. Track 17, original lyrics featuring Special K. In this song, he just talks about how there's no father to his style. Like, he's original. Nobody raps like him. The shit that he talks about. The concepts that he talks about, nobody's really doing him. And I definitely have to agree. And that's one thing about KRS-One. When it comes to conceptual tracks, he doesn't really get credit for that. You know what I mean? Because he's one of the first cats to really do conceptual tracks. And I feel like KRS-One doesn't really get the just due, like the credit for that. He's like, I'm not saying he's the first, but he's like one of the first to do that. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Track 18, The Racist. Very dope track, very interesting. In this song, he talks about there's 5 different races. And I wrote them down. The first one he says, the first one is the one that were brought up racist by their parents, very true, because and I think that happens a lot late. That's very common, especially here in the States, because you got their parents or their parents, which would be like the grandparents, teaching them that those people are bad. Don't fuck with them. Like nobody's born racist. Like whatever you're taught, I'm pretty sure you meet people that they were brought up good, and you can tell by their parents. Like, oh, you was brought up right. Your parents taught you right. You were brought up a good way. Same thing if you was racist, like the way he acts up and shit like that is because of the background of his home background, and it's the same concept. So that's definitely I could definitely agree with that. Then he says the second one is the one being racist out of fear, which I like to compare as the Willie Lynch syndrome. Everybody knows about the Willie Lynch syndrome. That happened the Jim Crow era, that kind of thing. The whole dark is evil, is ugly, and white is beautiful, is peaceful. That kind of thing. That's what I got from that. So that's the best way I could think of as the second type of racist. The third one is the unconscious racist. People that see racist actions and allow it to happen. Very true. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's say, like, you see a black dude fucking with a white dude, or vice versa, at a restaurant. Oh, you can't sit there. You can't sit there. But you're allowing it to happen. You don't intervene. Yeah, you're racist. You're part of the problem. Oh, prime example. That 15-year-old kid in the Bronx last year that got killed by those punk-ass, bullshit fucking pieces of pussies, Trinitario gang members and shit. Not saying the whole gang, I'm just saying those particular people. But that whole gang shit is stupid anyways. But like, I'm pretty sure you guys know about it. About how the kid was mistaken for another gang rival that actually had sex with one of the rival gang members' sister or girlfriend or whatever, and they seen the kid, and it was a whole case of mistaken reality, mistaken identity. So they thought the kid was the gang member that did what he did. They caught him, dragged him up, stabbed him up, and all that shit. And you had people with a camera up in the apartment recording the whole shit, and nobody did anything. Excuse me. Nobody did anything. Nobody did anything to stop it. So those people are part of the problem. So it's the same concept with that. And that's what I got from that. And I hate those kind of people, man. If you see something, do something about it. You know what I mean? But, it is what it is. The fourth one is the money races. What I got from that, justification would be a prime example of that. You know what I mean? Which, is a touchy subject, because gentrification, I do see it as a bit racist, but it's more of a social thing, more so than a racist thing. Because what bothers me about gentrification is that, you got these companies who, they come into poor income neighborhoods, and they will build like these, Starbucks and all these other establishments, and because of that, they'll raise the prices as far as like rent, groceries and things like that, and they end up making people move out. They will try to raise the prices on the rent, and it was just fucked up because you got people that's been living there for like 15, 20 years before these fucking companies come,